We got a busy show here tonight, and now that Sunday Night Football has wrapped, the Commanders get smoked by the Seahawks 38-14. We'll spend a few minutes on that, but coming up, I do want to get into the latest trade rumors, the latest trade buzz, a couple of thoughts I had with the NFL trade deadline looming on Tuesday, November 4th. We'll have some more trade content tomorrow. Then obviously anything big that happens on Tuesday, we will have that covered as well. And by the way, quick plug, if you're a college football fan, I did my college football playoff rankings predictions earlier today. I project the top 25 and how the initial bracket's going to look. First rankings come out on Tuesday, so keep an eye on that. Okay, Seahawks 38, Commanders 14. Just a season from hell for Washington. I mean, let's hit the news off the top. Jayden Daniels, for some reason, is in the game, down 38-7 midway through the fourth quarter. And on top of that, he runs, and as he's getting tackled to the ground, his non-throwing arm gets kind of stuck and twists around backwards. I mean, you could see, like, the elbow, pop. Twitter doctors are jumping on this. We don't have an official diagnosis, but they did put his arm in an air cast. Looks like some kind of an elbow injury. Ligament damage. You're hoping it's not a fracture. I saw Pro Football Doc put that out. If it's not a fracture, maybe it's not season-ending, but if it is, it would be season-ending. At minimum, this is probably, 4 to 6 weeks. That's probably on the low end. And you're 3-6. He's probably done. You probably just shut him down if you're the Washington Commanders. And just a disastrous season, man. I mean, they lose that game to the Bears where Daniels fumbles the ball away and the Bears walk off field goal, and they haven't won since. They've lost 4 in a row. Ironically enough, that Bears win over Washington, or that Washington win over the Bears last year kind of launched the Commanders season and the Bears fell apart. Well, this year it almost feels like the flip has happened. Not saying the Bears are going to go to the NFC Championship game, but you guys get my point. That felt like a pivotal game in the moment. And it's kind of played out to be that way. The Bears are in the mix, and the Commanders are a joke and a disaster. And Jayden Daniels can't stay healthy. And it's just a mess. And I will say this about Jayden Daniels. This was a concern of mine with him coming out. He's a very talented player. I don't think he's played as well this year as last year, but the O-line's a mess. It's not like he's been awful. Certainly hasn't been as good. But regardless of that, unbelievable rookie year. Tons of talent, tons of upside. But his frame, he's just wiry. He's thin, and he takes a lot of unnecessary hits. You have to run him. That's part of his game. And he's been hurt multiple times this year. And it's all different stuff, too. It's like a hamstring. It's an ankle. He had a rib issue last year. Now he's got the non-throwing arm that pops today. It's just, you just worry about a guy like this, the way he's built. It's just a concern. I mean, if you're a Washington fan, you can't not be concerned about it. I mean, this season's over. If you're a Commanders fan, you got to just accept that. You now have to be thinking big picture 2 things. 1, how do we keep Jayden Daniels healthy long term? And 2, what the hell is the roster construction? And I promise I will get to Seattle. What a win. What a team. They look fantastic. But the Commanders kind of had this false sense of how close they were heading into this season. And I tried to tell people, guys, they're a regression team. They were crazy good in one-score games last year. They had this all-time historic 4th down season a year ago where they were 89% on 4th down. Jayden Daniels led 7 game-winning drives. Just a bunch of stuff that evens out year over year. And this year, they've lost a couple tight games, and now some of their guys that were overachieving a year ago are not this year. Terry McLaurin's been in and out of the lineup. They feel old. It's the oldest roster in the NFL, and you can tell. You can feel it. You can absolutely feel it. And, that's where I want to go next before we circle back to Seattle. I think you got to sell if you're Washington. Any guys over 30 who aren't long-term pieces, Von Miller, why would you keep him? Even if it's a late-round pick swap, trade him out. Bobby Wagner, if the team needs an off-ball linebacker, I'd be trading him. Debo, I'd be trading him if the team wants him. Maybe a team like the Patriots can make sense for him. I wrote a couple other names down. Marshawn Lattimore. He left with an injury. I don't know how serious it is. If it's not serious, I'd be trying to trade him. Like, you're not going to get a ton for these guys, but you got to get younger and add picks. And if you get, even if it's just day 3 picks, 5th to 7th rounders, you get 3 or 4 of those. If you hit on one of those in the draft next year, it's probably worth it. I understand why Adam Peters did what he did this offseason and added kind of all these vets and, kind of viewed this as a go for it. But I think he overcalculated how good this team actually was. And then when you have Jayden slightly regressing and he's in and out of the lineup and the offensive line's having issues, it's just kind of a perfect storm. Like, they're not close enough to have the oldest roster in the league, and that has been clear. So if I'm the Commanders, I'm looking to trade these 30-plus-year-old guys over the next 36 to 48 hours leading up to the deadline. Okay, got to talk about Seattle, and then we'll tell you about PrizePicks and talk about some other trade rumors. But, I mean, that first half by Sam Darnold is one of the biggest heaters I've ever seen. 17 for 17, 4 touchdown passes, 31 points for Seattle. I mean, he was just on an absolute heater, dropping dimes, layering footballs. He looks awesome. And today, when you kind of think about the MVP race, Mahomes loses, Jonathan Taylor has a dud, they lose. Josh Allen probably re-enters the picture. Certainly, he had dipped in recent week. Bye week for the Bucs with Baker. A lot of guys not really vaulting their candidacy. I mean, to Sam Darnold enter that discussion, he was awesome. He was absolutely fantastic. Let's see what he finished at for the night here. I'm losing my screen here. Give me just a moment. 21 of 24, 330 yards and 4 touchdowns. Jackson Smith and Jigba, he might be the favorite for Offensive Player of the Year. He's closing in on 1,000 yards, and they've only played 8 games. He's been awesome. He had 8 for 129 tonight. Torrey Horton, I love this guy coming out of the draft, 4th-round pick out of Colorado State, had 2 touchdowns. I mean, they're just good. They're good. They're young. They're kind of the anti-Washington. They got a lot of young talent. Skill guys, good young offensive linemen. Defense flies around. I mean, they got dudes at all 3 levels. They have so much talent, they might trade Reek Woolen. And Reek Woolen's a solid player. So I just think I'm pretty bullish on Seattle. I think them and the Rams are a notch above San Francisco in the NFC West. I know the Niners keep winning somehow, but Seattle and LA, that's a pretty strong duo. The 49ers are competitive. I mean, it was varsity versus JV tonight. The Commanders just had no chance. And to add salt in the wound, that late Jayden Daniels injury, just a disastrous night for Washington, but a hell of a night for Seattle. They improved to 6-2. The Commanders fall to 3-6. We'll talk about some trade buzz here in a moment, including for the Seattle Seahawks. But first, we are sponsored by PrizePicks. Daily fantasy made easy at PrizePicks.com/CLNS. The hard-hitting football action is even better with PrizePicks. The weather may be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. I love using PrizePicks. Hit a lineup earlier today. I'm 1 for 2 on lineups today. Got a lineup for tomorrow night. Took tonight off. Kind of wanted to hang out and just enjoy the game. But tomorrow night, Cardinals, Cowboys. Cowboys defense stinks, and Dak on the other side is cooking. So I took the more on both quarterbacks' passing yards. Both Jacoby Brissett and Dak Prescott are in the 260s. I took the more on both. I get it's a high number, but like how both those guys are playing. Brissett's been really good since taking over for the injured Kyler Murray. $20 lineup to win $60. That's how you play PrizePicks. Pick 2 or more players on 2 or more different teams, regardless of sport. Pick more or less on the stats available. Passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards, touchdowns, field goals, sacks. You got points, rebounds, assists, and basketball. That's just a few of dozens of stats available. PrizePicks also offers injury reboots. If you have a player that gets injured in the first half, they'll simply remove him for your lineup. So if you have a 3-player lineup and a guy gets hurt in the first half, it'll turn into a 2-player lineup. They're not going to count that against you on PrizePicks. In fact, I benefited from that in a lineup today. I submitted a 3-player lineup earlier this week. DeAndre Swift didn't play for the Bears, so it turned into a 2-player lineup and hit both players and was able to cash in on that 2-player lineup. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups once you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups once you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Okay, Jay Glazer, who does not blow smoke. When he talks, I listen. When it comes to reporting in the NFL, he's on the Fox pregame show every week, and he named 5 teams that he's hearing that could be aggressive at the NFL trade deadline. The Seahawks, who played tonight, you would think that aggression would only increase after this performance. The Bears, the Eagles, the Cowboys, the 49ers. Let's start with the team that played tonight, the Seahawks. I guess my only question is, do they look to add? Do you look for like a more dynamic number 2 receiver to pair with JSN? Cooper Kupp's banged up. He should be back, but he's not really a 2. Torrey Horton's a fun young player, but is he ready for that role? I do wonder, like, if you could get like a Jacoby Myers, who's a more proven 2, a Chris Olave, or like a burner like Rashid Shaheed, that almost intrigues me more if I'm Seattle. Like, get like a true burner. I mean, Horton's got speed, but Shaheed just, run 10 goes and post routes per game. We'll hit one, I wonder if that's something they would look into. Do they add that one more piece offensively to the skill group? Or do you try and get another pass rusher? They're very stout at defensive tackle. Their edge group is solid, but they don't have that just like dominant player. Like, would they give Cincinnati a call for Trey Hendrickson after the Bengals lost today? The Seahawks roster is pretty loaded, but if they can add an impactful pass rusher or another receiving weapon for Sam Darnold, I think those would be 2 areas I'd be looking at for Seattle. Then obviously on the flip side, do they trade away some lesser pieces like a Reek Woolen, Boye Mafe? That's been out there as a possibility, so keep an eye on that. The Bears, I think that report was indicative on them winning today, which they did in a shootout, 47-42 over the Bengals. He mentioned specifically defensive help, pass rusher. I think corner's a possibility as well. Like a Reek Woolen would honestly be a nice add for the Bears. Don't know how much it would cost as he's a rental, 5th. I'm not sure. Do they try to get a Trey Hendrickson? Dio Adangbo, one of their starting edge rushers, got banged up today. He was seen in a boot after the game. Sounds like he can miss multiple weeks. They've already suffered multiple injuries on their in their edge group recently, including rookie Shamar Turner, who's out for the year. So I think pass rusher or corner for the Bears. Don't think they'll trade for a running back, even without DeAndre Swift. Their 7th-round rookie Kyle Monangai had a huge game, so doubt it would be an offensive piece unless some left tackle emerges on the trade market I'm unaware of. I would say corner, edge, or both for the Chicago Bears. The Eagles sounds like they're interested in everything. They traded for a couple of corners and Jair Alexander over the weekend, and then obviously late last week they get Michael Carter from the Jets. So probably no more moves in the secondary. Edge has been a position that's been discussed for Philadelphia. They apparently have made a call, multiple calls on Trey Hendrickson. Would Howie Roseman increase his offer to try and get him on board? Could certainly see that being a possibility. The Cowboys, they've been linked to defensive players. There was that report weeks ago that they called the Raiders about Max Crosby. The Raiders reportedly shut that down, although I think they should listen to offers for Max. Losing another heartbreaker today to the Jags in overtime. So if I was the Raiders, I'd be interested if I could get multiple ones and potentially another pick for Max Crosby. So keep an eye on Dallas. Maybe they go after one of these Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb types where, they give up like 3rd, 4th-round pick. And, it's not a Micah Parsons replacement, but it's a guy who can help get the quarterback. Dallas does play on Monday Night Football. They're 3-4-1. So if they lose, maybe they'd pump the brakes on this. But if they win, get to 4-4-1, the Commanders have fallen out of it. Maybe they try to make a push for the second half of the season. And then the last team Glazer mentioned was the 49ers. Now, Michael Williams reportedly suffered a major injury today, so they continue to get killed with injuries. So I'm not really sure what they would look for. I would have to think pass rusher. With how decimated they've been on their defensive line, Nick Bosa's out for the year. Bryce Huff's banged up. Michael Williams suffered a serious injury today. So you would think a pass rusher. There's been a report out there from Diana Racina that they also called about Trey Hendrickson. So that would be the direction I would think they would go in, trying to get an impactful pass rusher. Not sure who all is going to spring loose. There's been, Jermaine Johnson buzz, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb. Doesn't sound like Max Crosby going to be available. Maybe Kayvon Thibodeau. Sounds like the Giants want a first. Would they settle for a second? We'll have to wait and see. But those are 5 teams that Jay Glazer mentioned to be aggressive potentially at the NFL trade deadline. All right, more trade buzz to come tomorrow. So hit that subscribe button. Do not miss out. We will have you guys covered. We'll leave you guys on this. Who will be the biggest name traded before the deadline? Who is it going to be? Right now, it's probably Joe Flacco, who had a career high. Shout out Cool Joe. 470 yards passing at 40 years old today against the Bears. That's a tough one to lose if you're Cincinnati, but what a game, what a story he's been. But you guys let me know, biggest name to get traded before the deadline this year. My name is Harrison Graham. We will continue to cover it all, so don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you soon.